Welcome to Fantasy Football for Dummies. This is your host, Trevor Lahamadou. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about week 6 running back, wide receiver, rest of season rankings. If you have not followed or subscribed, please go ahead and do that. Make sure to hit that like button. Helps to promote my channel. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's get into it. We got Puka Nacua as number 1. I think he's clear, no doubt, wide receiver 1. I think he's best player in fantasy football right now, bar none. He looks really good. He has schedule easing up quite a bit. I can't really say enough. There's going to be a lot of passing offense going on. Stafford's going to get some yards. This is definitely a Puka Nacua type of year. Next up, I have CMC. Christian McCaffrey. He's a top end back, my number 1 running back for this season so far. Now, we worry about the injury history, the injuries, but sometimes Christian McCaffrey kind of proves that these are simply anomalies and he just continues playing. So for now, I see Christian McCaffrey while he's playing as the number 2 running back in fantasy football. And then number 3, Bijan Robinson. Some people are disappointed with his last game and he's coming off a bye as well. So that moves him up even more in the rankings because you have 1 week where you have Bijan Robinson now more than any other player, really. Yeah, he's just extremely good. Falcons use him a ton. He's an extremely talented back out of Texas. He's skipping and dodging everybody. He's running over players. He's doing everything this year. He could be talking about Bijan Robinson, number 1 running back season, possibly by the end of the year. Next up are my next tier guys. These guys might be going into S tier very soon. We have to look into it a little bit more. The Kansas City game's on my right now, so I'm still watching that as we speak. But Jonathan Taylor is my number 4 player, first player in the A tier. He's only proving to be a top-end running back like he does every single year. He's like Cheerios, baby. He's really good, but for some reason, people just don't prefer him. So just keep playing him. And if you can get him where you can, go get him. He might not be the flashiest player, but he just gets yards. He finds open holes. He's fast enough to get to the end zone. And he makes people miss. He can juke. And he can hit players with a pretty decent offensive line and a very good offense. I never thought I would be saying that about the Colts this year, if you asked me week 1. Number 5, I have Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs just continues to get that passing work. He's getting more and more touches over David Montgomery. I think this Lions offense continues to do well. I have him slightly below Jonathan Taylor simply because Jonathan Taylor is used in this offense primarily in a very good offense, whereas Jahmyr Gibbs has a lot of mouths to feed. And speaking of the devil, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown still over here with Jahmyr Gibbs. Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of my top wide receivers, a guy I'm looking to put maybe even higher. I think I might be underrating him a bit. He's a guy I might buy low on right now. I mean, considering, I guess it's a buy high considering how good he's done, but I feel like he could have done even better over time. It's just unbelievable what we see this guy do week in, week out. He's just a top wide receiver. So next we go to this B tier. We got a lot of people in this B tier because we don't really know yet if they'll move up or move down. Devon Achane, I'm not comfortable enough to put him in the A tier yet, but I am comfortable enough to say this guy is going to be used a ton in Miami. He gets 16 yards on 10 carries. That's not the part I'm excited about. It's the parts where he's basically the leading receiver for Miami. They seem to be using Achane a ton with Hill out. They have Waddle involved. Seems like this offense is still pretty decent with Tua involved, so we should still continue to play Achane and continue to get Achane. He's my number 7 overall player. Number 8, we have Jackson Smith-Njigba. What a surprise coming into this year. We knew he was really good, but we were surprised we wanted to see if Sam Darnold could actually do something. If he could replicate what he did last year, it seems like he is. And he uses Jackson Smith-Njigba a ton. And I don't blame him. Jackson Smith-Njigba, totally talented, made an amazing catch today, bobbling it down the sideline. Actually, it was yesterday. But yeah, Jackson Smith-Njigba, definitely one of the top wide receivers. Next, I have Jared Cook. Jared Cook does okay Sunday night, but doesn't get as good of a game as you're hoping. It doesn't matter. Jared Cook is a really good running back, and he's been continuing to prove that he's getting a ton of work and he's getting a ton of touchdowns. Next up, I have Saquon Barkley. A lot of people very disappointed in Saquon Barkley. I'm not quite there yet. I'm actually kind of buying in on Barkley. Actually, I probably might put Barkley ahead of Cook if I might change Barkley, because Barkley is a guy who's just continuing to get work. He's going to continue to get yards. He's going to continue to do well. But this is an Eagles offense that has too many mouths to feed, and eventually it's going to be his mouth to feed. He's going to be eaten. And the Eagles are a very good offense. I just see him doing well, especially, next week, Thursday night, Giants. I see him doing well against his former team. Next up, I have CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb coming off the injury. I'm a little bit concerned. It's a hamstring injury he's coming back from. Those typically take 2 or 3 weeks to really come back and be your true self. But even then, you could still end up getting hurt. I think it's a hamstring injury. I'd have to go double check. But either way, CeeDee Lamb coming back from the injury. We don't know exactly what he will be. I'm no doctor, but we'll see how he does. Next up, Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, a very good wide receiver. And we were a little bit worried with Carson Wentz coming in there. What would this look like? I wasn't worried, really. I was kind of feeling better about it than with JJ McCarthy, because ultimately Carson Wentz is a good fantasy football quarterback. And what we saw is maybe Kevin O'Connell can unlock something in Carson Wentz that we haven't seen from other coaches in the NFL been able to do. So I see Justin Jefferson just above Drake London. Still has some questions, still need to be answered a little bit more with Carson Wentz. What does this look like with JJ McCarthy comes back? Jordan Addison's taking some touches, but ultimately super talented. He's still a lock-in load wide receiver 1. Next up, Drake London. Drake London is a buy high, I would say, quote unquote. He's coming off the bye week, so he's going to be ranked a little bit higher than usual. That's because the bye week, you have one more week of football to get from him. And he's done really well. He's getting targeted. I think it's only going to get better with Penix getting more comfortable. Bijan Robinson's there, so it's not like all the focus is on him. He's going to still get targets and still not have the best defenses schemed around him as well. Nico Collins, another guy I was very high on earlier in the year. We get some promise with CJ Stroud having a great game, but I don't know how much it was CJ Stroud as much as it was that was a bad defense they were facing. So Nico Collins doesn't do as well as you were hoping, but CJ Stroud does move the ball around. This kind of helps up for game script for next game, because at some point they're just going to have to feed Nico Collins, as this offense just seems to be dragging along. Although the running game seems to be working, Nick Chubb produces this week. Last week it was Marks. So if that running game gets going, then I can see Nico Collins getting a little bit better. Next up, I have Ashton Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty, first round pick, second round pick, wherever you got him. He's been a little bit disappointing. He gets a ton of work. He gets a ton of catches at the end of the day. The touchdowns will come. The yards will come. He's super talented. We kind of seen it here and there. I believe in Ashton Jeanty, and I still have him in the B tier. I believe that if you want to trade for a player, this is the guy to trade for. You want to trade for guys that people draft in like the first or second round. That way, they're a little bit more desperate to get rid of them, because their perceived value compared to what they drafted them as is just horrendous. So they're automatically going to be biased to get rid of these players for guys that were lower end that are outperforming what they're doing. Even though these guys that are outperforming what they got drafted as, like a 15th round guy playing as a 3rd round guy, whereas Janty's playing like a 2nd round player, basically. If you can get the 2nd rounder, you take that at the end of the day. It's just a lot of people are unfortunately cut and they're biased, and you need to make sure to take advantage of that. Ashton Jeanty's a buy low for me. Maybe a buy high. It just depends. But Jamar Chase is next. Jamar Chase is a guy, it's going to be really confusing for this week, as he scores 2 touchdowns. Browning kept throwing the ball down the field. Granted, they're down by a ton, so they throw the ball down the field. This does not bode well for Chase Brown, but that's fine. Chase Brown's off this list. We're talking about Jamar Chase. He's still going to get touchdowns. He's still going to be useful. Not nearly as useful as if Joe Burrow's in there and getting him his targets. Jamar Chase will end up still being a lock and load wide receiver 1 or 2. Depending on the week, if he has a tough matchup, maybe you look to go against that, because at the end of the day, if he's facing a CB1, I don't know how Browning gets the ball to him. Next up, I have Kyren Williams. A lot of people have Kyren Williams in the B tier, but I'm low on Kyren Williams. I have some concerns. I don't like, he's a short back, not that fast. He's in a Rams offense that's really good. That's great. But it reminds me of Chase Brown in in a way. If Stafford ever goes down, what are we doing with Kyron Williams, really? He's not that talented. He's not going to, it's really just the workload you're getting. And then Blake Corum's coming in there, getting a little bit more work each week is kind of concerning, considering that Kyron Williams wasn't that drafted. He wasn't drafted high. They don't have a lot of stock in him. I'm a little bit concerned about it. Maybe I'm wrong. But either way, I have him in the seats here. It's not like you're not playing him. Next up, we have Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is getting older, getting more carries. He's still relatively young, but I'm a little bit more concerned about it. But you do have Matt LaFleur, who's always looking to run the ball. So that's the best thing about Josh Jacobs. But with this becoming more of a passing offense, I just don't see Josh Jacobs being used as much as we'd hope. And we also saw Williams get used a little bit more as the backup. Now, granted, he did go through his bye week. If I'm being consistent, probably should move him up above Kyron Williams, but I'm just not big on Josh Jacobs. Next up, I have Rome Odunze. Rome Odunze's proven all offseason that he was going to be the guy, and we were getting word from camp, oh, this guy, he's the wide receiver one after, that failed season with Keenan Allen and Caleb Williams and him not able to really hook up at all. It seems like he's finally got it, and it seems like Caleb Williams is finally throwing it down the field to him pretty consistently. We see the talent. We see how much potential this guy has as Kareem Hunt scores a touchdown, make it 21-21 against the Jaguars. I just think Rome Odunze is a C wide receiver simply because we don't know if he moves up to the B tier or if he's moving down to the D tier. Next up, I have Quinshon Judkins. A lot of people might think I'm crazy for putting him this high, but I mean, Quinshon Judkins looks like he could be a fantasy football winner. He's a young guy coming in there with this Cleveland offense, and week in, week out against tough matchups, he just continues to perform. And it's pretty surprising to see he's just going to continue to get work. And at the end of the day, that's all you can hope for, especially as this team ends up facing a little bit easier matchups throughout the season. I'm really liking Quinshon Judkins. If you can go buy him at anywhere you can, go ahead and do that. Next up, I have Bucky Irving. I have nothing against Bucky Irving. I love Bucky Irving. He won me so much money last year. He won me so many leagues last year. Bucky Irving, I will always praise you, but Bucky, I had to put you below Quinshon Judkins. I'm not liking the usage. They do use you a lot, but I mean, you're getting injured now. I'm not sure what to make of you with Baker Mayfield getting a lot of work. We now have Ibuka, another mouth to feed in this passing game. Mike Evans will eventually come back. I mean, they'll still use him. He's in the C tier for a reason. But these are guys I'm a little bit more concerned about. Next up, I have Breece Hall. Again, a guy people probably don't see as in the same tier as Bucky Irving because of what happened last year. At the end of the day, Breece Hall, we saw him as a rookie. He is talented. He is a very good running back, and he can be. And this Jets offense seems to always want to use him even if they're down in a game, which is pretty surprising. I want Breece Hall as a C tier because I could see him moving up to B tier, easily move back down to D tier too. I don't see that. I could see that being something that happens. Next up, I have Rashee Rice. As soon as Rashee Rice comes back, he's probably going into the B tier. He is a very talented wide receiver. He's going to be out one more week. And he's going to be the wide receiver one for a pass-heavy Patrick Mahomes Chiefs team, which is pretty amazing if you get that on your team. So go get Rashee Rice where you can. Next up, Tetairoa McMillan. This is a guy. I'm talking about a guy. He's super talented. He's only proven that the Panthers are just that bad of a team that they can't get him the ball. Like, Christian Gonzalez was singing his praises against the Patriots. He's only proven to get a ton of targets each game from Bryce Young. I see them down in more games. They are going to build a more chemistry, even though I don't like Bryce Young. I love Tetairoa McMillan, and I only see him moving up in my rankings from now on. Davante Adams is doing a lot better, I think, than people think with his red zone usage. I really like how many targets he's getting in the red zone. That usually shows that what a wide receiver is going to be later on if they just keep getting red zone targets. He's getting yards as well. He's still getting targets as well in general. Targeting Davante Adams where I can. He is not too old yet. He is still very talented. Garrett Wilson, this is simply the offense, not trusting the offense. He's super talented. I mean, I have Breece Hall a tier ahead of him, People might not be happy about that, but ultimately it seems like it's easier to get Brees Hall the ball than it is Garrett Wilson. It's a simple fact as that. Igbuka, I have as my D tier wide receiver below Tedero McMillan. He's going to continue to perform. I got to keep moving him up, but I just see Mike Evans coming back and Mike Evans eventually saying, hey, this is my job. I'm the wide receiver 1 here. You're wide receiver 2. We have Godwin here too. We need to get involved. K. Dotton had a great game. I still think it's a really good offense, but similar to a Lions situation where they're not going to score 60 points. They're just not going to score 60 points every single week. So I'll bring it down to earth for all of the Igbuka owners. I think he's a D tier wide receiver. I'd honestly prefer Ted over Igbuka where I can get him. Next up, I have Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams been a nice surprise for you fantasy owners. Looks like the Cowboys are a really good offense. Looks like Javonte Williams is back. They have a decent offensive line. I just don't believe this is season long. I just refuse to believe it, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he should belong in the D tier, but just not there yet. But Cam Skattebo, the Giants stink. But Cam Skattebo is pretty good, and they keep using him. So he gets involved in the pass game. He gets some rushing yards. We'll see what his role is when Tyrone Tracy comes back, but I can't see it diminishing all that much, really. And Cam Skattebo, at the end of the day, if he's getting pass work, we got to keep moving him up because we know rookie running backs and young running backs at the end of the seasons we'd prefer over those older guys, like Javonte Williams, for example. Next up, I have Quentin Johnston. I'm sorry. Quentin Johnston didn't have that great of a game, but people are like moving him off the radar totally. He had one bad game in 5 weeks. We'll put it that way. One bad game in 5 weeks. That's going to happen with wide receivers and very good wide receivers. I would go get Quentin Johnston where you can because people are overreacting to this. They overreacted to how good he was doing. They were saying he's an A-tier wide receiver or a B-tier wide receiver. I wasn't quite there. I was probably in the D tier last week. But at the end of the day, if they're going to overreact, and I would take advantage of it for sure. Next up, Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton, I completely understand. Maybe I have him too low in these rankings, but at the end of the day, it just seems to be hit or miss with him. So I'm not quite sure if he's going to do well each week or not. That's what I am always concerned about with Courtland Sutton. But at the end of the day, he has been getting targets. He's been consistent for this year. So at the end of the day, he's still my E tier. And next I have Travis Etienne. He's only proven to be a top running back. People forget how young he is. He's still drafted in like the 20s range when the Urban Meyer era in Jacksonville. And he's a young guy. Like, he's still going to get work. He's still going to be really good. Tutton, we do have to keep an eye on, just like with Blake Corum. He might end up taking over at some point, or maybe not. I don't think he will. It seems like Travis Etienne's too talented for that to happen. So give me Travis Etienne, the E tier. Next up, I have the F tier, and I just have a ton of wide receivers and a ton of question marks. Starts off with Marvin Harrison Jr., the guy I most believe in this range. Marvin Harrison Jr. proved that he is a very good wide receiver. Now, can he be a non-hit or miss wide receiver? Can he be consistent? That's yet to be the case. We haven't seen it. It doesn't mean it's not there. It might be Kyler Murray's fault as well, as Murray did not have a good game as either this past week. But Marvin Harrison Jr. really should have had a touchdown too, and really the stat line should have been better. So I'm still pretty high on Marvin Harrison. Deebo Samuel, we're not sure when Terry McLaurin comes back, but we can't ignore what he's done. He's been a super big piece of this Commanders offense. He's proven he could be a running back, wide receiver, and they use him really well, which is kind of surprising. We thought only Shanahan knew how to use him. Turns out the Commanders know exactly how to use him. So good job by the coaching staff. Good job by Deebo Samuel. And the next guy, the guy everybody wants to talk about, is Derrick Henry. And I'll explain why I have Derrick Henry so low. I would rather have Travis Etienne and Javonte Williams than Derrick Henry at this point. I understand Lamar Jackson's coming back. I understand all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, Derrick Henry might be done. He might be too old. It happens to the best backs. It doesn't mean he's unusable. It doesn't mean you can't start him. It doesn't mean he's not going to have hit weeks. I think he's going to be more matchup based than we've come to expect from Derrick Henry year in, year out. So we got to keep that in mind when we're using Derrick Henry or playing him in our lineups. So again, it's sad to see the fall off of Derrick Henry, but this is where he's at. Next up, I have Brian Thomas. The game is tonight, so we'll see how he does. but I still believe in Brian Thomas. I think the targets eventually show a story of him doing well, although it looks like Travis Hunter being used more and more during this game. It's possible that Brian Thomas might be phased out. Next up, I have Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle, the number one wide receiver in Miami. Enough said. I think that's enough to warrant at least a discussion as F-tier wide receiver here. Tua's proven he can throw the ball even without Tyreek Hill, and he'll get Waddle involved. So Waddle, he did well the first game. He's proven maybe he can be a wide receiver 1, so he's in my F tier. Michael Pittman Jr. just keeps proving me wrong, so I have him here as well. He's still a viable fantasy starter. There's nothing wrong with him, and there's nothing that's too great with him in my mind, but at the end of the day, this Colts offense, if they're going to be good, then Pittman's going to be good. So they ride with Pittman. Next up, I have George Pickens. George Pickens, he's the number one wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott, who are going to get their numbers. So as simple as that, I'm getting George Pickens where I can. Zay Flowers, in my opinion, Zay Flowers is a big-time buy low. A lot of people really hating on him. He's been fairly consistent this year, I will say. He's been fairly consistent. Take away the game they had with Cooper Rush, and that was pretty tragic. But when Lamar Jackson comes back, I think they're using downfield receivers more. I think they want to be more of an explosive offense, which makes sense because Derrick Henry might be phased out. So I think Zay Flowers might be a good get. Next up, I have TreVeyon Henderson. I understand you're a little bit frustrated as a TreVeyon Henderson owner, but at the end of the day, TreVeyon Henderson is a very good running back to keep. You want to keep this guy where you can. Rookie running backs at the end of the year, especially if they're not used a ton but used some, they're so valuable because they're used to the offense, and then they don't have the touches, the wear and tear to get to the when you get to the fantasy playoffs. They're going to be ready to go compared to these other guys. So I am all in on trying to get TreVeyon Henderson where you can. Next up, I have a Marion Hampton. Unfortunately, goes down with the injury. Pretty concerned about it, but it does sound like it's going to be a 4 to 6 week type of thing. So when he comes back, I'm going to have probably a Marion Hampton up to the B tier, honestly. A little bit concerned about an injury, but considering that he's a young guy and the Chargers are going to just absolutely need him, there's no way Hassan Haskins and Kamani Fadal are going to take over this backfield over Marion Hampton. So let's wait to see what happens, but I'm pretty sure Marion Hampton will be in the B tier when he comes back. Next up, I have Olave and Kamara. Okay, you see the Saints scored 26 points and get their first win. You think what? Who did well? You would think Olave and Kamara did well? No. And unfortunately, Kendre Miller taking over for Kamara. It's not a good look. I'm seeing the writing on the wall here. I'm kind of in on Kendre Miller at this point. Kamara just might be getting too old. And then you got Chris Olave there. I'm still a believer in Chris Olave. They pass a little bit more than I thought they would, and they're not that bad of an offense with Kellen Moore at the helm. Spencer Rattler knows how to throw it down the field, so I'll give it to them. I think Chris Olave is actually a viable play at wide receiver for you if you have Chris Olave. And that's my rankings for running back wide receivers. Guys, I'm just starting this, so please go ahead, like and subscribe if you have not already. Make sure to put the notifications on whenever my videos come up. Make sure to join my lives on TikTok. That is Fantasy Football for Dummies on TikTok. I am Fantasy Football for Dummies on Twitter, or I guess X. And I am FF for Dummies on Instagram. Follow all of these if you can, and make sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Make sure you're smart out there.